Welcome to the Really Likable Geeks podcast. I'm Steve.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Stuart.
And this is a podcast where we talk about nerd stuff and things that keep you from going outside, like video games, comic books, board games, and other nerd things alike. This episode is brought to you by Audible. Our book of the week this week is The Girl on the Train. Spooky. Ooh, spooky. The Girl on the Train, the movie was based off of the book, of course. They have a film adaptation for it, and apparently it's not doing very well, but the book is really, really good. So, I don't know if you knew about that or not, because you're looking at me like I'm crazy.
No,
Well, you are.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah, that's my general look at you.
True. So here's the plot for The Girl on the Train.
Hit me.
All right, get over here. All right, so plot and summary of The Girl on the Train is Rachel takes the same commuter train every morning. Every day she rattles down the track, flashes past a stretch of cozy suburban homes, and stops at the signal that allows her to daily watch the same couple having breakfast on their deck. She's even started to feel like she knows them. Jess and Jason, she calls them. Their life, as she sees it, is perfect, not unlike the life she recently lost. Then she sees something shocking. It's only a minute until the train moves on, but it's enough. Now everything's changed. Unable to keep it to herself, Rachel offers what she knows to the police and becomes completely entwined in what happens next, as well as in the lives of everyone involved. Has she done more harm than good? You're going to have to read the book to find out. The Girl on the Train. It's really good. Super good thriller.
I've read the book and I've seen the movie. And
what do you think of the movie? Because, like I said, some people said it wasn't very good.
It was okay. I feel like the book was able to garner more sympathy for the main character than the movie was. In the movie, she was just very unlikable. And I know part of it is she's an unlikable person based on like her personality traits. Without spoiling it, she's kind of a bad person. But I felt like the book did a better job of showing the complexity of the character, which I guess is a complaint of any book to movie translation. So
How close do we get really to like the exact
true
of a novel anymore these days?
Yeah.
Or at all, even like ever.
It's
Really?
difficult.
Yeah.
Like we did, one of the book of the weeks that we just had recently was Gunslinger, and that's coming out. Mm-hmm. How close do you think they're going to make it? Because Stephen King said that it was great.
Do you want me to do that?
What?
The fact is that the Gunslinger movie, and I'll predict this right now, is not going to be an adaptation of the first book in the Dark Tower series, The Gunslinger.
It's
The
not?
Dark Tower movie is going to be a continuation of the 7-book series.
What? Oh,
Yes.
Because maybe this time.
Things will be different. Because the
gotcha.
book's been out for...
The
first book came out 40 years ago.
Yeah.
The book is cyclical. Think Terminator. Time is cyclical.
Oh, I know the book. But
Okay, so then, yeah.
But I'm talking about the movie. Like,
Yes,
how
the
close
movie,
you think
the
it's
movie
gonna
is
be.
going to be the next iteration of the story.
Okay.
That's my thoughts on it.
Stephen King saw it already, I guess.
And he says he liked it.
And he says he liked it.
And he's been very vocal.
That's
So-
impressive.
Yes, because he historically has always been vocal about
book to movie adaptations.
Yeah, the Stanley
Yeah.
Kubrick and The
I was about to
Shining.
say, how did he get along with Kubrick, was it?
Oh, they hated each other.
Oh, they just.
Yeah.
Really? I could have sworn they were just best friends.
No.
BFFs.
He still hates him.
Oh, okay.
Still-
Stanley Kubrick's dead and he
That is
still hates him.
Too bad.
He hates his corpse.
He's like, he goes to his grave regularly just to flip him off.
Yeah.
Like,
Peace among worlds.
yeah. So, what are we talking about this week, Matt?
We were just talking about the book of the week because
We were.
Audible's, being real cool to us and all.
Yeah, they
but
are.
what we're actually going to spend most of the time talking about, yesterday, as you guys may know, the start of May, this year it happened to fall on the 6th.
Was it a day?
It was a holiday
For
us
for geeks.
in the geekdom world.
Yeah, it was.
It was like a take the day off work holiday. Yesterday
It's like
was
opening day.
National Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
You show up and you get a free comic book. Have a nice day. Did you guys go get one?
I did.
What'd you get?
I got Vader 8 by
Ooh,
Dark
dang.
Horse. Yeah. Fantastic. The Vader comic book series is what happens specifically with Darth Vader between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. And it's
Can I borrow
fantastic.
that from you?
I love it. it's only the one issue.
Can I borrow that from you?
Yeah,
because I didn't get a
Oh, it's
comic book on
fantastic.
Free Comic Book Day.
it's
I was
so
swamped
good.
with
There's
work.
there's one
Same here.
there's one
I didn't read one though.
there's
I
one
read one, but yeah, I didn't get one.
there's one point in the comic when he's like surrounded by rebel soldiers and
Rebel scum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freedom fighters to some.
Nope, rebel scum.
And they're all like yelling at him like, put down your lightsaber and surrender. You're surrounded. And like Vader ignites his saber and he's like, the only thing I'm surrounded by is fear and dead men. And then he just annihilates.
He just
all-
murks everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, dang, that's
It's
awesome.
fantastic.
To be fair, he
Yeah.
was
wanna read
not
this.
wrong.
And it also shows the moment when he finds out that Luke is his son. Spoiler.
Oh, dude,
finds
I
out-
didn't know that.
He sends
from the 70s.
he sends Boba Fett to track down. He sends Boba Fett to track down the pilot who destroyed the Death Star, and he finds out Boba Fett comes back and he's like, "Oh, his name is Luke Skywalker." And Vader gets like so pissed standing on the bridge of his Superstar Destroyer that he just like the glass
Like
just starts like cracking
Oh.
and spider webbing.
that's awesome.
Yeah, and he goes to the Emperor and he confronts him about that, and it's very
Why would you
Bro.
spoil that for me?
it's very tense.
I would have given my hand to know about that. Boo. Boo.
Well, because I had the high ground.
Your left hand?
Oh. Yeah.
Was it your left hand specifically?
Yeah. It was my left hand.
Okay.
But he had the high ground.
He did have the
I
high
had
ground.
the high ground.
Yeah, he trusted me. I was a brother. He loved me.
It's an exaggeration.
I thought it was more of a joke than anything else.
You're a
Hyperbole.
joke.
No, like your love for me. It was a joke.
I don't know. I'm starting to feel the.
Force.
Anyways,
But anyway, I figure in honor of that, I've got my Batman shirt and everything.
Yeah, you do.
Talk about comic books.
Let's talk about comic books. Why don't we start with a brief history of comic books?
A brief history. All right.
can we do that? Can it be brief?
We can just
Or-
let's specifically just talk about the 1st comic book.
I'll target,
Okay, cool.
I'll target some real brief ones because I did a little bit of research here and I found out
You say
that
brief, and all I think is Dr. Briefs from Dragon Ball. Sorry.
or Captain Underpants.
Captain
I was
Underpants.
thinking briefs.
Or
Well, yeah.
Quail Man, because he wore underwear on the outside of his
Dude,
shorts.
oh, Quail Man.
Anyways,
So the
be brief, man.
widely acknowledged is the first comic book is called The Adventures of Obadiah Old Buck, and
That sounds so dumb.
It sounds super boring.
it probably was. I know nothing about it, but it was written in 1837.
I'm sure there were nothing like racial or like, I don't know, bigot about that comic.
No, I imagine 1837 Switzerland was probably very diverse and totally reasonable. But anyway, it was originally written by I don't know if it was written in Switzerland, but it was written by a Swiss man in 1837. There wasn't
Fact.
an English adaptation until 1841, and then in 1842 it came across the pond and it was written. There wasn't a English adaptation for America written in New York. So that's what's acknowledged as the first comic book. What they call the Platinum Age of comics takes off from about that point up to roughly 1939,
Where we have Action Comics #1, Detective
and that's where the
Comics
golden
#1.
age kicks in.
Yeah.
Slight just trivia note here: the first newspaper comic strip was written in the later 1800s. I believe it was 1893, 1897, and it was in the Hearst, New York's. And I forget what the name of the paper was. It would later become the New York Times. That the first comic strip was written.
That's interesting to know that the first comic book came before the first newspaper comic strip. So
Yeah.
that's actually
Well, they used the comic strip to, and now I'm going off of what I researched, just to fill it. They needed some space to fill. They had an artist to do this, and later on, more comic strips dogpiled in. But the initial first comic strip was one, and it was just to fill space.
what was it? Do you happen to know?
You
offhand?
know what? I did look it up. It was
It's probably something super boring too, because that Obadiah
Yellow Card
old
Kid or something like that. I have it.
sounds awful.
I will pull it up. The first newspaper comic strip in the United States was Richard Felton Outcolt's The Yellow Kid, which appeared in Hearst, New York American on February 16th, 1896. I was off by a year.
I feel like I already know the answer to this question, but when they say Yellow Kid,
You
Really?
know what? I'm
well,
gonna
it's
image
1896.
Fair.
I'm gonna image it.
Fair.
Is it as racist as I think it is?
I don't know. It's not showing up. Go ahead. Keep going with this. I'm going to find it.
It was
I'm gonna find this.
1896. We're just going to assume it was super racist.
It was probably racist.
Because another fun fact is that the original Wonder Woman comic was created in order to sell war bonds during World War II. And the very first appearance of Wonder Woman in a comic was her fighting Japanese. And she is just a string of racial epithets.
I didn't know.
Oh,
about
really?
those. Yeah.
Oh, it's really terrible.
To piggyback on
Really?
that,
Yeah,
check
it's
this out.
super racist.
before I go looking for this, to piggyback on that, the first true DC comic was well, it was Detective Comics #1, and it was I'll tell you what. Let me pull up the picture from the front of the comic book. So I'm gonna show this to you guys here.
Jeez.
And then
really?
We'll show
It's
our
like
viewers.
Fu Manchu, Ming the Merciless.
This is what we have for the first
man.
true DC comic. It was Detective Comics #1. It looks racist because it was. Chinese people were depicted as a lot of the villains. I believe one of the stories in there was the Claws of the Red Dragon.
Jeez.
That doesn't sound like communist China
No,
at all,
not at
does
all.
it?
No.
Not at all.
Wow. Okay. So,
So you want to say? So that was yours. Well, I guess I'll say mine
Yeah,
was
go
in the '90s. The first comic book I ever read was The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Alan Moore.
first ever read.
Fantastic.
Yeah, first ever.
Oh, I'm going to say this wasn't, I've never read it, but I just know it exists.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like what was the first comic we ever read?
Oh, no. We were just talking
Oh,
about
yeah, I
the
totally
first-
read
League of
that one from
Extraordinary Gentlemen.
1837. Yeah,
Oh, right on.
definitely.
So was yours, Stuart. Go ahead, take it. I mean, that was like what 1993 though. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah,
that was one of the
fantastic Alan Moore
93 or 99 or
comic that they made into a really terrible movie. A movie so bad, in fact, that Sean Connery has not acted since because it was so bad.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is true.
So
And that movie
terrible.
was very bad.
It was very, very
It could have been
bad.
better.
It could have been if they had made it into like 3 movies, which
Fair.
they should have done. The very first comic I ever read was Flash Gordon. It was a 1959 golden print that my grandfather had. Yeah,
Cool.
Flash.
I mean,
He'll save every one of us. You don't know that?
I do.
Oh, okay. You were looking at me like I was crazy.
I mean, but it's parody. That was a long time. ago.
Freddie would be cool with that.
Here you go, Stuart. The Yellow Kid.
Oh, it was super racist. Okay, cool. No,
What was it? I didn't see it.
Here, pass it over to Steve. Pass it over to Steve. Let him
it was
take a
very
look at that.
racist.
The picture's too small to show you guys,
yeah.
Oh my God.
but it was pretty bad.
That's
I
pretty
guess
bad.
the assumption in 1890 was that, oh man, this is just the time. I'm not going to read like all of this because it just hurts me inside. But the title is "The Yellow Kid Loses Some of His Yellow."
I didn't read that on there.
And that's because he
bad.
gets bit by a dog
Oh man,
in the butt.
Is that really?
Yeah,
That's what
it's-
happens in the strip.
that's so terrible.
It's really bad.
It's super racist. We've come so far.
Have we?
Yes.
I don't know.
I mean, comics aren't blatantly racist.
No, they're not. At least, well, we'll get into that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that
But
later.
yeah, if you're gonna ask me what first comic I actually read,
I thought that's what you were talking
no,
about.
those were just the first that existed because we were going to brief history. So I started from the very, very beginning. But personal brief history, I read my dad's Mad magazines from the 70s and 60s. So I guess comic would be Ether Monroe or Spy vs. Spy.
Calvin and Hobbes.
I read.
I mean, I understand that was a strip, but that's like one of the most beloved
Yeah.
strips of all time.
I'd say that's probably right after
Yeah.
me
Peanuts
reading
and
my
all that.
dad's
I read.
magazines.
I read a lot of my grandfather's heavy metal,
Oh,
which probably
Red, yeah.
explains a lot about
Yeah,
how
yeah, exactly.
how I turned out to be.
Indeed.
For those that don't know, Heavy Metal was a very adult-centric comic book, but it was non-serialized. So every month, every issue, they would have a bunch of different artists do like one-shot comics.
Yes.
And it was very not all of them were overtly sexual, but a lot of them were. So
Yeah. They're still good.
the artwork's fantastic. Heavy Metal, to me, that movie was so terrible though. The Heavy Metal movie was just awful. You ever see that?
I did not.
Comic books have come a long way in the art
song out of
department.
my head now.
Comic books have come a long way for art. Too,
You know, I will say though,
thinking about that
I
from
will
back
say
then.
it surprises me now that you say that, because from what I understood of comic books, not the strip so much, but the actual books, especially Golden Age, you saw a lot of the same artists and the same authors. Like you did.
Well, Heavy Metal came out in the 80s.
Okay, that's near the end.
I
I'd say it's a little bit
think
beyond.
the first publication of Heavy Metal was like 82.
Okay, so that was probably when that was clearing up,
Yeah.
because that industry just felt like if you weren't in it, you weren't getting in it.
Yeah, it was, and that was the problem, is that a lot of the artists and writers at the beginning of, Golden Age did not own the rights to the characters they created. I can't think of his name, but the man who is purportedly the creator of Batman is not, and it was actually another artist that he took the idea from, and the guy made, billions and billions of dollars off of someone else's work, and the guy died like
Nike swoosh.
Yeah, the guy died like poor and like
I don't know what that was.
in like a pauper's grave. So
What's funny though is because when I think about comic books now, and I had a conversation with my buddy on the other day about when we were talking about comic books for Comic Book Day, is comic books are still a really big deal. I go to Frank and Sons, with my buddy James, and there's just people.
4-color fantasy. That's my jam.
There's just so many people like vendors that sell just comic books from all over, like all different years. You can find stuff new, stuff from dating back from probably like you said, early 19.
I'm not sure you can find that 1837 one anymore though.
But I mean,
Thankfully.
from like the 80s and the 70s, and it's so back. You can find all that stuff, and you can find anything at like Frank's. But do you think that comic book, like superhero movies, are killing the comic book industry at all? I had a conversation with my buddy about this, and he feels that it's helping the comic books, but it's also becoming easier to just watch.
I think there will always be, because I mean this isn't a new argument. I mean, a lot of people talked about how moving picture was going to kill reading and novels. I think there will always be a market for comic books, just as there still is a market for novels. The fact that they want to make movies out of comic books and out of novels, I think, to me, says that they just want to translate it into a different visual medium.
Either that or it's a cash grab.
I mean,
In some instances.
money is always going to play a part,
a big
in it.
role in the
Yeah.
Well, I feel in some instances, not all, but in some instances, your adaptation from comic to movie or from novel to movie is less of a, I feel like I want this to be in a new medium, and more of a, ooh, people really like this book and it's popular now. If we make a movie, we can get all their money real quick before the fad goes away.
Okay, so there's obviously examples of comic movies that were made purely for cash grab reasons. I think the first one that comes to mind is Green Hornet.
Yeah.
Because Green Hornet had not been a popular comic
I had almost forgotten about that movie.
for
It was so bad.
decades.
Movies definitely
the
have
fact-
a way of introducing old comic book characters as like, oh man, these guys are awesome.
But
Yeah.
Green Hornet was
Green
not
Hornet
one of
was
them.
not awesome.
Not one of those.
Green Hornet
no.
was just a cash grab.
Yeah.
I felt like they didn't put the effort to come up with a good story.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm frustrated kind of with the film industry when it comes to comics too, when it comes to superheroes and comics too, because they are focusing on the big ones, the Avengers, X-Men, stuff like that.
Right.
Like, but I like, like Shazam.
Well, okay, so
He's awesome.
Shaq do
well,
that?
no.
No, that's Kazam.
Oh, my bad.
No, Shazam's awesome.
No, they're,
You know who I
what are
know.
you talking about?
What do you mean? What am I talking about?
The Rock is starring in a Black Adam movie.
I know, but like, it took him this long. Like, they doing. They've
feel
made
I
so many
can't.
crappy ones. Like,
The
how do you
Rock
mess
is
up?
so good. I can't wait for
How do
that.
you
Yeah.
mess up like Green Lantern? Like, they messed up Green Lantern so bad
Because it was a cash grab. Green
Because-
Lantern was another one.
Yes.
Green Lantern was made purely
That's where I thought you were going.
for monetary reasons. They didn't get someone who knew the story. Like the first Daredevil or the only Daredevil movie was not
You just-
well
you
written
terrible
or
person.
well
I can't believe you
conceived.
spoke of it. Like,
You know,
no, I know. I
we're
get
gonna
what
have
you're
to
saying, though.
open our eyes and see that the first Daredevil movie was terrible.
Ben Affleck.
It was pretty dark.
Ben Affleck gets a lot. It
was a very
It
dark
wasn't
movie.
dark enough.
It
He
really
was-
wasn't.
I mean, he couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
So
Ben Affleck. Yeah, he could. He had like psychic rain vision.
so he's like in the Matrix.
And then
like,
they- and
what's
then they-
going
That's actually
on?
kind of what it looked like.
And then they doubled down on the terribleness of Daredevil by making an Elektra movie.
Oh my gosh!
Did
yeah.
anyone actually see
I
that
never
movie?
No.
watch it. I was like, this isn't
Oh,
real.
okay, the entire peanut
Wow.
gallery
Okay,
saw
so
it.
the entire peanut gallery.
We all make
saw it.
mistakes.
I mean,
No one's perfect.
I didn't see it because
So we're single
I
now.
knew-
No, I'm just kidding.
I didn't see it. I didn't see it because I knew it
I'm
was
not,
not
I'm
going to be good. The fact that they put David Carradine in there to be Stick, and then Stick was not blind,
No.
which didn't
No.
make any sense
Yeah.
and just pissed me off.
But like,
Wait, is
they
he
make
named Stick because of like
He has a walking
the
stick.
blind
Yeah, the
stick?
walking stick.
No, it goes deeper into because there's also someone named Stone.
That's unfortunate because if he was named Stick
He
because
throws
of
rocks
that
at
and then
people.
he wasn't blind, it's like why is he named this?
That's
Yeah.
why it didn't make
That's
sense
why it
in the
didn't make
movie.
sense,
I mean,
yeah.
you have David Carradine, who's a fantastic actor, in it's so fantastic an actor that at one point someone he actually I can't do that joke. Never mind.
okay.
Never mind.
I felt
We
like
knew
you were
where this
setting
was
up.
going.
I was gonna do it and now I can't.
I felt like you were setting up, and I was like, "Uh oh." But no, I mean,
I'm
I
very
don't
sorry,
want to
David
stick with.
Carradine.
I don't want to stick on the movie stuff too much, but with like, yeah, is it helping the comic book
think
industry? Yes, because it is superheroes.
I
But
think
the thing
my personal
is,
answer to you is it's a wash.
Oh, yeah,
because on the one hand,
There's good ones and bad ones.
you have the bad ones that are just it's taking people away, but then you also have the good ones which are drawing people in who don't know the comic book world, watch the movie and go, oh, this is awesome, what's this based off of, and they go and look for it on purpose.
We're also going to reach a saturation point where comic book movies, has diminishing returns.
oh yeah,
We haven't
very
reached
much
that
so.
point yet because comic book movies still
Sell.
own the box office.
Oh,
You know what's
absolutely.
strange to me? I never thought about this before. It just hit me right now. You go to see a movie, a superhero movie, and they're usually like, I don't know, the movie theater is all themed out with like, oh, our cups are, not the Avengers cups or whatever like that. How come they don't just hand out a comic book for the movie?
I feel like they did
Marvel.
that with
Did they do
the
that with anyone?
first X-Men movie.
Did they?
I think the premiere of the first X-Men movie, they handed out a special issue of X-Men that was a lead-in to the first Bryan Singer X-Men movie.
I feel like they should just do that with every movie. It's like, hey, there's a
and
comic
people-
book adaptation of the movie. That'd be awesome.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, well, see,
Just something I thought of.
Well, here's the thing, though, is that's kind of redundant because the majority of comic book movies pull from a comic.
Yeah. So they're like,
So-
well, here's the issue the movie's based off of.
Oh, if they had a
Boom.
reissue?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I could see that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I don't know why I just thought about
They
that.
just have a tie-in
But-
to the movie.
Yeah.
Because they do that with a lot of novelizations of movies. They have the tie-in.
And the thing
Or,
about too
okay,
is
here's
like,
an interesting idea. Maybe that's not cost effective, but they are going to like make their cups all decked out for whatever. How about decking their cups out with pages of the comic
book,
but
kinda,
it's
yeah.
just printed on. But the thing is, what that's going to do is you get one, the person you're with gets the other one. There's two cups that you can read like maybe 3 or 4 pages of comic books on the cups. What does that leave you wanting?
comics.
So
You
make
wanna
it a-
finish it.
You make it a collectible thing.
And then
Yeah.
you want to
Yeah.
finish it. So now you go, well,
Why
crud,
not
where
go
do I
get
get
it?
this? Oh, well, it's this comic. I can just Google that comic and buy
You
it.
know exactly which one it is and everything.
And I
yeah,
can
that
buy
feels
it.
like I don't know why I thought about that, but yeah, I mean, I feel like the movie industry is helping the superhero and comic book industry a lot. You know, I really do. But I just feel like I can't wait until Hollywood starts touching on these other. I think we're getting to a point now to where they're going to start reaching for some different superheroes.
So
Instead
are
of
you
the
talking
ones-
about like Marvel DC? So maybe like some webcomic movies?
Maybe
Obadiah Oldbuck.
Well, okay, hold on, because we have you know, you're gonna say something about it, but like we have Watchmen, you know,
Boo.
we have Guardians of the Galaxy,
Poorly done movie, unfortunately.
you
That's
know?
Marvel,
and
though.
yeah, but they're not. They weren't really like, I would say, like critically acclaimed.
Guardians?
Was Guardians really that?
Yeah.
I mean, okay. What about the Watchmen though? It wasn't.
Watchmen was mixed reviews.
Yeah.
Because the people who had read the people who had read the comic,
graphic novel.
the graphic novel, did not care for the movie adaptation, because the fact is that The Watchmen is too big of a story to do in one movie. And
Oh, yeah,
even
or
though the
even
movie
two.
was like 4 hours in the director's
It still
cut.
wasn't.
You
Yeah.
Still wasn't
You
enough.
couldn't
They
do it in
still
two.
missed-
You need a trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what
Unless they
and
should've
that's,
just
and that's
did
the
that.
problem is like anytime they try and make an Alan Moore comic into a movie,
It
it's
does just.
terrible.
It goes horribly wrong.
awful.
I think the
But-
problem with that,
No,
though,
V for Vendetta was terrible.
I feel the problem with that is Watchmen was made before the comic book movies really exploded across the market, so they couldn't really. A trilogy wouldn't have done it.
I disagree with that. It came out after Iron Man 2.
Yeah, it did.
Iron Man was the
It was the gate opener.
explosion.
Yeah.
People love Robert Downey Jr. is a fantastic actor.
He really
And
is.
he really, I think, if you could,
He really brings that character to life.
Well, and that's the thing. If you could point to any
Hey, there is no
one,
dude who plays a dude playing another dude like he does.
if you could point to any one specific comic book movie actor and character that like really opened the floodgates, it would be Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because
No questions
that
asked.
movie was entertaining even if you knew nothing about Iron Man.
Yeah.
I agree.
So
Even though the third Iron Man was basically another Avengers movie.
well, I mean, Captain
was.
America.
It
So
was.
was Civil War.
Yeah.
But that makes more sense now because you already have all of these established heroes in the Marvel Cinematic
You're
Universe.
just picking which one you want to follow.
but if
essentially,
you have
for
like
this,
a
for
world,
this version of it, yeah.
but if you have like a world threat, and it's only Captain America doing something, your question is going to be like, okay, well, where's Iron Man?
Where's everyone else? Yeah.
Yeah, where's everyone else? What are they doing?
Yeah. What are they doing?
And that's what Thor, the new Thor movie, is going to explain.
Dude, that movie looks so good.
Yeah,
It looks
it's
so
fantastic.
good in
I
such
love-
a cheesy way.
I
I'm
love that
so
they had
excited.
Zeppelin as the intro. Oh, it's
So
fantastic.
I'm so excited.
favorite part about it is I saw a meme and it says Thor Ragnarok, and the word Ragnarok is written in like that silvery, rusty color at the bottom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone else put next to it, like from the 90s, Windows 98 or whatever, word art on Word. And one of the custom, like one of the pre-made word arts is that same text.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, they did that. They made it all like cheesy on purpose because they even did like
They made
the
it that
cliche,
like old 80s.
Well, they
like,
also
yeah.
they did the cliche trailer too.
Yeah.
I bet you're wondering how I got here. Record scratch.
Yeah,
It's
Freeze
fantastic.
frame.
Yeah.
Yep, that's me.
I'm
That's me. I
so-
bet you're wondering
yeah.
how I got in this situation.
I'm so
Yeah.
excited for it.
Yeah.
Like I really, because I feel a part of me feels like they definitely pulled from Guardians on that trailer a lot
yeah.
with how they presented it. Like this is gonna be campy and ridiculous. How ridiculous? Watch. Like what
I
is
just
going
saw-
on?
I just
Like,
saw the
She
new.
just told all of your
I s-
deepest, darkest secrets.
I just saw it. It's so hilarious.
Oh, I can't
I
wait.
loved
Guardians?
it. The new Guardians was
I haven't
fantastic.
seen it yet. I'm gonna go see it
It
this
was
week.
really good. I was
Maybe I should read
really
the comic first.
I was really happy with.
I have.
It's a joke because we're talking about comics.
Shut up, Matt.
I was really happy with what they did with the movie.
Good. I'm glad. It's good. It's really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
Sweet. That's all I need to know.
You have something you wanted to say?
No, I'm excited for Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Can't wait to see it. How long do you think we're gonna have to wait for another Spawn movie? Out of curiosity.
There was
Because that's a
talks-
big deal.
35 minutes.
There was talks.
That's how long we'll have to wait.
There was talks of
those are great.
a new Spawn HBO series, and the last thing I heard was that they were in they were in negotiations to do a new Spawn TV series, live action though.
Yeah, which I
on
would
HBO.
watch.
Well, because there was
Which version of Spawn though? Because there's so many different versions.
all I knew is that
Spider-Gwen.
I knew that Todd McFarlane was attached. So
Oh, I'm on board.
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
I'm down with that.
I'm on board.
Yeah,
I'm- I'm completely backing this. I'm all about it.
but this was I read this 5 years ago, so it might be in hiatus.
I hope
or-
it's not.
Hey,
I was just curious about
it took
it
a
because,
while for Ryan Reynolds to get Deadpool,
God,
True.
Yeah.
so I can live with a little
Channing,
while.
And Channing Tatum is still trying to make Gambit, so
Which
it's been
I'm-
6
I
years.
could, I
with
could
it.
see that with him.
I would need to hear him try and do the accent.
True, but I mean, just looks wise, I
Because
could
that's
see
why I hated it. This is one of the reasons why that Wolverine Origins movie sucked. But the guy from Friday Night Lights that they had playing Gambit, he didn't even do a Creole accent.
No.
He just did a Texas
didn't
accent.
even try.
It's not, it's not the same thing. Not the same
Yeehaw.
thing. Yeah, like West
Yahoo.
Texas accent instead, and it's supposed to be Gambit.
Yeah,
from
it's
El
from-
Paso.
Yeah, Gambit's from Louisiana. It's
Yeah.
supposed
That's
to have
close
Creole
enough.
accent.
It's only a couple states over.
Well,
Yeah,
Not the same thing.
I know it's not. I'm just saying.
Anyways,
Y'all come back now. You're here.
anyways,
So, but yeah, I don't know. I know I completely derailed us off of everything that we were talking about with
No, that's
comics so
fine.
much. But yeah, I was just curious because comic books are still a huge thing because without comic books, you don't have the movies. Without those characters and their their likenesses and everything, you don't have the movies. So does the movie industry complement the comic books?
Yeah, because you already-
But
you
it could
already-
also tear down.
you already have a
that's where
fan
I'm
base.
saying it's
You already
a
have a
wash.
fan
Yeah,
base.
yeah. But we all know that that Hollywood has destroyed the comic books.
Green Lantern.
completely
Oh, sorry. What?
just destroyed
I
certain
mean,
comic book series.
Green Lantern's not even going
You
to be
okay?
in the Justice
I'm
League
fine.
movie.
I'm fine.
Sound like you got some crap in your throat.
So,
Okay.
I mean,
hang on.
that
Might
says
be
it
Green
right there.
So I'm going to read this thing. So I want to remind everyone that this episode of the podcast is brought to you by Audible. Thank you, Audible, for supporting this episode of the Really Likable Geeks podcast. Audible has an unmatched selection of audiobooks, original shows, news, and more that you can listen to on your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or standard MP3 player. For our audience, Audible is offering a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. We recommend to you The Hobbit, written by J.R.R. Tolkien and narrated by Rob Inglis, which you can even keep even if you cancel. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/RLG and browse their unmatched selection of audio content. It's that easy. audibletrial.com/RLG. Again, that's audibletrial.com/RLG.
Who doesn't like free things?
Dude, Audible.
On top of that, it's The Hobbit. And
Yeah.
let's just do
And
a
Martin
really,
Freeman is an outstanding actor.
Yeah,
I think this is the unabridged
Those
version.
movies were
Specifically, too. It's the
those
one.
movies were not good.
No, but Martin Freeman is an
Audible's
outstanding
great.
actor.
I mean, I use it. I listen to I have a subscription. I have tons of books on there.
The first time you
Like-
were telling us who it was narrated by, in my head,
Oh, you thought I said-
heard Robert Englund, and I was like, Freddy Krueger is narrating The
Okay,
Hobbit?
I'm all about
That
this.
sounds awesome.
That would be so cool.
That sounds
I would
so
be down for
cool.
this.
But no, it's Rob Inglis. But Audible's awesome.
He's also cool.
Yeah, you can listen to it.
But I just,
But he's not Freddie
go
Krueger.
into the
that would be
store
such
running,
a
whatever you
weird
want to do.
juxtaposition.
I would totally
Yeah, I
listen
would
to that.
Throw my money at my computer.
So, but yeah, Audible's awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you for sponsoring the podcast.
Thank you, Audible.
You guys
You're
are
the best.
awesome.
All right, so back into it. I think what we were talking about is specifically how webcomics has kind of broadened the spectrum of not only comic story diversity, but the amount of access that people have to comics.
I would also compound on that and say it's also expanded the amount of access that people have been able to use, as in there are more authors and writers now as well in the comic industry than previously.
Yeah.
Because when you with the advent of the internet, you can just
Yeah.
create your own domain, prove that you're a good author and a good writer by starting your own comic and just going.
I think the biggest example of webcomics being wildly successful is Penny Arcade.
I would agree with you. That's one of the big ones.
I think that is the big one. I think I can't name another comic that started off solely web-based that has grown to the audience size that the guys at Penny Arcade have. I mean, the fact that they have their own convention, like PAX is a convention that happens in multiple venues across the country.
Yeah. We have PAX East.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Prime.
PAX West, like
Yeah, PAX Prime, PAX East. Yeah.
those guys have just blown up so much, and it's such like nothing against them, but the quality of artwork is not what I would say is up to printed snuff. You know what I mean? I would say that their comics are simplified because they're one-shot jokes.
Yeah.
So, and it's nothing against them. It's a fantastic comic.
There can't be anything against them. They've done very well for
Oh
themselves.
yeah, they're fantastic guys too. They've done a lot of and those are some guys who have done some fantastic charity work as well.
Yeah.
So I think Penny Arcade really proved that you can start off, a comic where you're just doing it for fun on the internet and grow to make an empire, just based on that.
Oh, yeah.
But I will say that there will never be a Penny Arcade movie, or there should not be.
I don't know.
Yeah, don't.
Their comic doesn't have like enough of a through line in order to support like
Scott Pilgrim. Oh, I'm sorry.
another great example.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
feel like Penny Arcade dwarfs them in size of just viewership and
Oh, definitely.
just everything.
And,
Scott
definitely.
Pilgrim's another great example though.
Yeah. Which was great. I love Scott
So,
Pilgrim.
question for you. Since we were talking about first comics we'd read, what's the first web comic you ever read?
The first web comic I ever read was Penny Arcade and then Questionable Content.
I read questionable content.
Questionable Content is fantastic.
It is.
The
Not one of
artist,
the first I read, but very good.
it's all one guy, Jeff Jacks.
Yep.
He's been doing it for, like 10, 12 years now.
Yeah, I want to say it's like 8-10 years.
And I think the first comic that really caught my eye, and that's why I've become like a avid reader, is because he made the most obscure Dune joke. And
he made a Dune joke?
yeah,
Yes,
and it was
in
like
one of his
it was a really obscure one. You would have to like be like a huge Dune nerd to even get it. I think his friend was like, he was at his friend's house and he was like, "Why do you have a giant portrait of yourself over your bed?" He's like, for the ladies.
yeah.
And he's like, "Well, why are you wearing a metal codpiece?" He's like, "Fade Ralpha."
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's hilarious to me. Sting in the
That's
metal
amazing.
codpiece. It's fantastic. What about you, Steve? What was your first web comic?
The Stone Age.
I have no idea what that is.
I don't actually know that one.
Okay. Well, let me.
I'll have to look that up. Like,
Let me.
I would say bring that, enlighten us.
Bring that
I
noise.
want to know.
The Stone Age. Sorry. Let me get this up for you. The Stone Age.
No dead air.
Well, I figured the Stone Age, and he had to bring it up in webcomic. It made sense.
First webcomic. It was like in 1985. I think it was like
See?
it might be the first webcomic ever.
Interesting.
But Eric Monster
You
Milliken
hipster.
for Fetus X. You ever heard of Fetus X?
No.
Witches and Stitches. Wizard
Yeah.
of Oz parody.
Yeah, cool.
There you go.
I know which is in stitches.
Yeah. So it's basically, I'm trying to find the exact synopsis of it, but it was one of the first ones that I had ever read, and it was basically during, I would say it's like after or just before the Bronze Age, because it's all like the Stone Age and then the Bronze Age and blah 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 blah. So let's see here. The earliest webcomics, let's see. Fetus X, Clan of the Wizard of Oz parody, The Witches and Stitches. He distributed it through CompuServe.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's how old that is.
Yeah.
All right, then.
Let's see. Where the Buffalo Roam, a gag strip published online through FTP and Usenet in 1991.
Wait. Where the buffalo roam, as in the Hunter S. Thompson?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Now I know this. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I was like saying, come on now.
No, now I know this. I didn't. The name didn't jump out at me.
Yeah.
Now I know this.
So like the Stone Age, I should have been more specific. Stone Age Comics
Yeah.
was like
Yeah,
Above
yeah,
Low
yeah.
Wrong,
Okay.
Fetus X,
The
Gotcha.
Ralph
Witches and
McQuarrie.
Stitches,
Yes.
stuff like that.
It
Yeah.
was-
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yes, I do know this.
Okay.
I know. I'm a big fan of Ralph McQuarrie's
Yeah.
artwork. He's fantastic.
Eric Monster Milliken.
Yeah.
Is one that did all
Yep.
that. So
Okay.
I had to look it up because I want to make sure I get all the names right and everything. But yeah, let's see. So David Farley was the first comic. Let's see. Dr. Fun, a gag panel by David Farley, was the first webcomic published on the web with his website and all that stuff.
That's
So
fantastic.
back then was like back when I was because I was so into like comic strips. You know, Calvin and Hobbes, Peanuts,
Right.
Family Circus, all that stuff.
I hated Family Circus from a young age.
Really?
I didn't think it was funny.
Yeah, I
was
never
an
found it funny.
8-year-old
I didn't
and I
hate it,
hated
but I
it.
never found it
Yeah.
funny.
Hey.
BC is one of my favorite.
BC's hilarious.
Like,
What's
the one with the-
Far Side?
what's the one with the little wizard? Is it id or the id? I can't remember what it's
The
called.
Little Wizard.
It's like a little wizard strip comic. I can't remember what it's called.
I have no
I remember
idea.
Beetle Bailey. I remember
Beetle
Hager the
Bailey.
Horrible.
Yeah,
Far Sides were
Yeah.
always
Oh, Far
hilarious to me.
Side. Gary Larson.
Yeah, Gary Larson, who is famously fought against.
Wizard of Id.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Gary Larson has famously fought
That's an older
against having
That's a
his
really old one. Wizard of
work
Id.
published on the internet.
What's that?
Gary Larson?
Yeah.
He's against having his work published on the internet.
Really?
You never seen that?
No.
Oh, he doesn't. I've never come across him filing cease and desist, but whenever he sees his stuff online, he
Filed cease and
no,
desist?
I've never seen him
Oh,
do
okay.
that.
I was
But
like,
whenever
what?
he sees his stuff online, he's like, "Hey, this is Gary Larson. Can you please take this down? I don't want my stuff online."
No way. I did not know
I don't.
that.
I don't.
I don't see what
person-
the purpose of that is, but
I
maybe
personally-
maybe to like for integrity.
To each his own.
I feel like having your stuff online reaches a wider audience because if you're only like in a printed medium, you know, his stuff doesn't reach other countries.
Or does it?
Like not in the newspaper wise.
True.
Maybe.
You get a-
Maybe.
I'm
Brent.
Is it
saying-
like
That's about
printing
it.
a comic in a newspaper technically a publication? Like
it is
a specific publication.
But what I'm saying is that you're going to reach a far wider audience if
Online.
you have your stuff online than
But-
just
but-
staying to printed media.
But his stuff is so big already.
So
though,
you're telling me
it is.
that I don't think that
that
it
if
would-
we
It
put
is
it
in America.
online,
true.
so if Gary Larson was to place all of his stuff online, he would reach a further side.
Yeah, that's true.
Good one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I first, so when I was reading like these old comics like Wizard of Id and BC and Peanut, especially Peanuts, and Garfield.
Oh, that's a
even,
classic. Charles Schulz.
I was kind of like, there's got to be more than just the ones that I see in like, the local newspapers. There's got to be
Right.
more because it's always the same, like 7 or 8 comic strips on like a page, and you're like, oh, that's enough.
Boondocks was a fantastic comic that I loved.
Dennis the Menace. I would read stuff
Doonesbury.
like that.
That's a good
So
one.
when I went online, I
Never
just
really appreciated that till I was older.
I just Googled. No, I think Google. I
Kathy was
searched.
terrible.
I think I used Dogpile back then.
Ask Jeeves.
I searched.
Ask Jeeves.
I just searched webcomics and a lot of that stuff came up, and I was like, oh man, I got really into it. Really, really got into it. So, and now I own a lot of books that are collection
The
works.
omnibuses.
Yeah, the collection works
Yep.
of these comic strips, which are considered comic books.
Yeah.
now. So, yeah,
They're
that's
comics
back
in
when.
book form.
Yeah. Exactly.
Therefore, they are books
And actually,
of
they're
comics.
really cool having it that way because you start from the beginning, the very first
Oh yeah,
one,
I like.
all the way through.
I have a couple of the
They're pretty
Calvin and
sweet.
Hobbes ones.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Calvin and Hobbes anthology. I have the. I actually have their bathroom readings one too, which is pretty
Nice.
cool. Which is like ones that were made specifically for that. They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then I have all like the Peanuts. And, I have quite a few of them. Wizard of Id, and I have all the BC ones. BC is one of my favorites because they're usually 1 or 2 panel strips.
How do those tablets float?
Eh.
What is up with that? Those are stone tablets. I know what they represent. How do they float?
I get
It's
it.
a
but
question
I'm
that's
mad
plagued
I'm mad that
mankind
you
for
asked it.
centuries.
Okay. Let's.
But yeah, those are my first ones.
Yeah.
Witches Get Stitches and all
let's
that.
let's talk about the continuity between comics from movies and TV. So
Y'all not going to ask me what my first comics were?
no, I don't care.
That's unfortunate.
What was your first comic, Matt?
First comic, man.
Did we skip you?
Yeah, you totally did.
Oh, all right.
I was just like,
No, we didn't. We did it at the top of the show.
Oh, we did.
Yeah,
What
we
was your
already
fir-
did ours.
No, webcomic.
No, he did
You
do it.
okay.
At the start of the webcomic
Fine.
part, I asked, since we talked about our first comics, what's our first webcomic? And you had mentioned that oh my God,
fine.
I feel
Repeat
horrible.
yourself.
I don't remember what yours was. Oh, I'm the worst friend ever. And then
It was Penny Arcade and questionable content.
Yeah, questionable.
Oh, there you go, Penny Arcade. I remember the questionable comment. And then you were talking about how you were reading a lot of the Stone Age ones.
Yeah.
And so for me, I didn't get into webcomics until like the mid to late 90s. One of the first ones I read was Pete Abrams' Sluggy Freelance. And that was 97.
Whoa. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
That's still going on. He says he's in his final chapter. It's going to take like 2 more years to finish, but I am
My final chapter for a few more
Yeah,
years.
it's only been 20
Yeah.
years.
I have got to give the guy credit. He is a fantastic storyteller because he is bringing things up.
He's got the long view.
Oh, there are things that I didn't even remember, and he's got reference links, and I'm like, click, read that, and it's just boom.
Do you think people that make web comics and
what?
like comic strips and stuff like that, do you think they remember all of the ones they've ever done? Or you think they're those ones that they've just been like,
No, I've seen some continuity errors in some web comics,
Yeah.
and people will say in the comments, and they'll be like, "You're right. I'll try and fix that."
Do you think anybody that's ever made like a web comic or a comic strip or anything has made a comic twice, the same comic twice? Like the
Probably the same
twice?
joke.
The joke,
If
yeah,
you've
the
been,
joke.
if you've been going long enough, probably. I'm sure Penny Arcade has some.
And
repeat
usually
jokes.
what'll happen is if you have a storyline, if you end up making the same joke twice by accident, the joke becomes make the same joke
Make the
again.
same joke
so
again,
on.
yeah.
I think
Gotcha.
Penny Arcade did that.
Yeah.
For like 3
Sluggy's
April
done that
Fools in a
several
row.
times.
Oh,
they did the same joke, and someone Cyanide and Happiness definitely did that.
Oh, yeah.
God, I love Cyanide and Happiness.
Yeah, Sluggy's done that several times. I also used to read, since they're done now, Dr. McNinja.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yes. He was one of my
Dr.
favorites.
McNinja's awesome.
So let's go.
Forgot about Dr. McNinja.
I know a lot of
I'm gonna
obscure.
go check that
I know
out
so
now.
many obscure ones.
Dude, I totally
I
forgot
will.
about
I will
Dr.
throw
McNinja.
you a list of all the ones I have. I have so many obscure ones. It's Walkie is one of the ones I read,
Okay.
which I'm sure you guys
I don't know that one.
don't know. Yeah, but that's
I definitely know Dr. McNinja, though.
It's Walkie was one of the ones, and God, I'm gonna kick myself. I do not remember the artist's
You
name.
can do that?
But
You're talented.
yeah, you just lift it up and you kick yourself in the butt. Anyway.
Don't you look like a fool?
I felt like that was like a more awesome way to do it than just like.
But I for love of God,
Doesn't take
I
much to make me
cannot
look like a
remember
fool, by
the
the way,
artist's
Stuart.
name.
Okay.
But if you, God, I can't even remember his other works now. It's going to bother me. But if you've, there's a comic about a bunch of people working in a toy store. I don't know if you know that
Toy
one.
Story. Sorry.
If you do, then the same artist, it's the same characters. He uses the same characters with the same attitudes and everything, but once he's done with a storyline, he'll transpose it to a new, like at one point they were all,
Setting.
Roomies is one of the other ones he did.
Oh, okay.
So all those same characters are in a different setting, and now they work in a toy shop, and now they're here or whatever, but they're all the same characters. So It's Walkie is one of those settings.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about something that a lot of.
Here we go.
This is always one of the big criticisms of comic book movies is that they don't.
I'm not looking forward to this conversation.
They don't follow.
Why not? Green Lantern.
You okay? Sound like you have some
Okay,
crap
so
in your
here's
throat.
the thing, though.
Hang on, let me pull out the DVD.
let me punch this out.
You ate it?
Shut up.
No.
A lot of movies or television shows based on comics don't follow the exact comic story to the letter,
Yeah.
and that's been a criticism of a lot of comic book movies.
I would say in
So-
some cases they have the same problem where movies adapting from novels do, where you don't have the time limit to do them all. But that's not the case with all of them, and I agree with you.
Okay, well, here's the difference, though, between that. Is that when you adapt from a novel, you have one source material.
Yes.
When you adapt from a comic, you have, Marvel, I think, is in the 600 different Earths. DC is in the 500 different Earths.
So
There's a
ridiculous.
book.
There's a
little
they have
like
both of them.
coffee table type book that has all of them.
All the different
Really?
Earths
Yeah.
of DC.
Oh, that's
and
rad.
like
Marvel
how they're-
Universe 73. It's got
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, this is like I
Really?
think it's
Yes.
it's
That's
DC.
awesome.
It's super cool.
DC Earth 083 is the one where Superman landed in communist Russia.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, and Batman is Bear Man because Russian.
Really?
I'm not even joking.
This is amazing. I'm googling this right now.
So I think
In
there have
communist
been
Russia.
here's the problem is that sometimes following the source material can make a very bad movie.
Like that one.
Like Green Lantern.
Oh, I was thinking like communist Superman.
What movie was that?
No, but if they had done that, I
That would've been
imagine
a
that.
fantastic movie.
Really? I
Who
feel like that
doesn't
wouldn't
want to
sell
see
very well.
communist Superman fighting for the proletariat against the evil
Really?
bourgeois?
In communist Russia, means of production sees you.
Yeah. The Daredevil and the Green Lantern movies followed the comic storylines, but
There's no way.
they were not
Real.
good.
I'm reading about it right now.
It's fantastic.
What?
Right?
His mind
on
is being
earth?
blown.
I'm surprised you haven't heard of that.
No.
For those of you who aren't watching on YouTube, Steve's brains are now on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to clean them up later. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, that's not true.
So there's a lot of times where following too closely to the source material makes a bad movie, and there's other times where taking away or
You broke
jumping
him.
off.
Batman cough.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
From Earth 30?
30. Yeah, or
No
30.
way. I've never heard of this. I'm reading about it. It's the greatest thing I've ever read.
Yeah, he's got the big sickle and hammer
I'm
instead
going to
of the
Frank's
S.
next weekend
Yeah.
to get these comics. It's amazing.
I'm surprised you never heard of that.
I've never
That was-
heard
that
of
was a
it.
big-
Broke him.
That's amazing. I mean, I've heard of Red Sun.
Yeah.
Superman Red Sun.
Not that one.
But like,
Bear Man.
oh my gosh, it's awesome. Anyways, carry on. I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
So, I
Be
mean,
over
but
here blowing my
there's
mind.
times where they depart from the source material too much.
Yes.
For instance, there's a new television show on the CW called Riverdale. Riverdale is based off of probably one of the most read and sold comic strips or books in America.
I had completely forgotten it existed until you
Archie-
said it. And when you
Archie
did,
and Jughead.
Jughead.
and I was just, I loved reading about that.
For those of you that don't know, Riverdale is a show that's loosely based off of the Archie and Jughead comics, but they do it in such a melodramatic, like terrible teen TV show way that it's just ridiculous.
Okay.
It's just so ridiculous. Like,
you
why
read
even?
me the synopsis earlier.
I'll read it right
Are
now.
you being sarcastic when you say loosely based?
I'll read the synopsis for the TV show. And for some reason, and I've watched episodes of it, it has a 7.9 on
Plural?
IMDb.
You've watched episodes
Yes.
plural?
Yes.
Oh, I don't think
and
I
it
could
has
do
an
that.
89% on Rotten Tomatoes.
What? Yeah, I don't.
I don't.
understand
Okay, so this is a synopsis for the CW show based on Archie
Riverdale.
comics.
The show.
Yeah, it's called Riverdale.
Okay.
Archie Andrews starts the school year with the world weighing on his shoulders. He's decided he wants to pursue a future in the music business, but his recently ended clandestine relationship with the music teacher has left him without a mentor. And his friendship with Jughead Jones is in a bad place. Things look like they might be turning around when Veronica Lodge, a new girl, arrives. Despite the instant chemistry, Veronica is hesitant to risk a friendship with Betty, who has a crush on Archie, to pursue anything. Amidst all the small-town banality lurks a mystery, the recent tragic death of Jason Blossom, the twin brother of beautiful and popular troublemaker Cheryl.
I don't remember Archie getting it on with his music teacher.
It's so terrible. It's so stupid. It's like because this is the prime example of like, let's just make a comic book TV show and then we'll have like people write the show who have never read an Archie and Jughead comic. It has nothing. It is so
How many burgers has Jughead eaten in the 2 episodes you've watched?
none.
That's unfortunate. No. He should have had like 18
That's
by
the whole.
now.
That's the whole.
No, but
strip.
Archie and Jughead is a comedic comic.
Oh, yeah.
How are you going to like force this like melodramatic teenage like high school
Angst.
like angst into it? It doesn't make any sense.
I don't
It has
disagree with
no
you.
relation to the source material. And that's why, and that's an example of like where you're like, why even call it Riverdale? Why even call them Archie and Jughead? It has nothing to do with Riverdale.
because reasons.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I feel like these
just trying to shoehorn in
these
every like,
shows that come out. I feel like they go, oh well, you know what,
Branding, I can get old people to watch
We'll
it.
make this.
Yeah.
Nobody will remember. Nobody will remember the actual source material for this, for this production that we're making. Nobody will actually remember. So
Which
we'll
is
just make
weird.
it, but we'll name them characters so people will be like, oh, so it's reminiscent of this show. Oh, that's cool. And we'll watch it and it'll be great. No, that's not how it
Awful.
should be.
It's so terrible.
I feel like the people that make these shows, that's how they feel. Nobody will remember, so I'll just make it.
Vampire Diaries look like Gone with the Wind.
Well, have you watched freaking Divergent?
It makes it look fantastic. Like
Divergent?
No. The Riverdale is so terrible that it makes shows like Vampire Diaries,
And Divergent?
and Divergent. Well,
Look-
Divergent's a movie.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
But I'm just saying.
it makes them look
Makes
fantastic.
them look good?
Yeah,
That sucks.
it's just so awful.
It sounds like the most painful thing to watch.
I don't think I want to
ever.
watch this. I think I'd rather watch, what's that? What's
Green
that?
Lantern. Green Lantern.
Got some crap in your throat. You okay? Yeah, I think I'd rather watch Powerless.
Yeah, I mean that's another
Green
example.
Lantern. Me too.
That's another
I mean,
example.
Green Lantern. Got some crap in your throat. You okay?
I really wish I was wearing a Green Lantern shirt under this, and at the end I'd just be like, "Ha ha!" But I'm not.
Surprise! Nobody likes that movie.
No. That's not real. We don't talk about that.
I think we should probably end with the recent state of comic books.
Oh, man.
So recently, comics have come under fire for a lack of diversity. Now,
Did you just finger gun?
Under fire.
under fire, nice. Starring Steven Seagal. Yeah.
Which isn't his real name.
No,
Well,
it's Fatty.
Yeah.
I'm like 95% sure I could take him at this point. He's so overweight.
I don't know.
I don't think
He trained that MMA guy and he wrecked face.
He did not train anybody. Yeah, he also worked for the CIA
Hey,
and did black
hey.
ops missions.
He may
Guy's
be
He's
fat,
also been
full
training
of it.
dogs for like 100
That guy's
years.
so
he
full of
may
it.
be
He also flew a
overweight,
helicopter
but
for
that
like
guy
6
can do
years.
the splits.
Have you ever watched?
No, he can't. You're thinking of Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I know.
Dude, he did a splits between two semis. That was awesome.
That's where I was with with.
But Chuck
That's
Norris did a splits
Jean-Claude
between.
Van Damme.
I know.
Yeah, but Chuck Norris did splits between two F-16s.
That's true. He did.
Whilst carrying 20 other Chuck Norrises.
Anyways,
That video was awesome.
Man, we got off topic.
Yeah.
anyways,
Steven Seagal.
a large criticism in the past few
Steves.
years of comic books has been that they lack
Get out of here.
diversity, i.e., a lack of
Superman,
female.
white male. Batman, white male.
Well, he got to the point pretty quick, but I understand you were trying to coax it in. But no, you're right.
Green Lantern, white male.
CGI.
And then was later a black male.
The problem is that the people who criticize the comic books for lack of diversity don't read comic books,
True.
Well, let's be clear too about this. When we say diversity, it's not just like racial diversity. It's
which
also,
is what I was trying to explain.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was getting that there for you. It's not just racial diversity. It's also just
Gender diversity.
equality. So gender diversity. It's
And
ridiculous.
I agree with that because when you look back to the older ones, most of your superheroes, your superpowered beings, are men. And the the females in the storylines, like for instance, I'm going to use Batman, Catgirl.
biased.
I mean, for all intents and
Catwoman.
purposes, yes, that's it. Sorry, Catwoman. I was thinking Batgirl in the back of my head because that was my next. I was going to touch on that next.
Yeah.
Catwoman is, for all intents and purposes, she's a sex object. That's
And she's also a female protagonist.
kind of the point.
Well, she's not. She's an antagonist.
Well,
yeah,
there's been specifically Catwoman.
True.
That's what I'm saying. She has been a protagonist.
But she was created from Batman. She
Yeah.
wasn't a standalone. They weren't like, let's
agree.
make a comic book.
based off of her, and then
Well,
implement her into the Batman universe.
Yeah. I think the problem is that you are criticizing the comic book industry for writing comics targeted at their audience.
yes.
The majority of comic book readers are 18 to 34 male.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's not younger than that.
Well, the majority of people who buy comic books, obviously, younger is bought by their parents. and
Right,
so on
right,
and so
right.
forth.
Well, I mean, if they have like allowances or such, they can go
Yeah.
out. But the majority
But
is going to be
teenage to 30-ish male.
yes.
Okay, I agree with that.
So I feel like it's really disingenuous for people who aren't a part of the fandom to criticize something that they're not even a part of. For instance, I don't see a lot. I never saw Tucker Carlson criticize The View for not having more male-centric stories, because The View is targeted towards women.
Okay, so
Yeah.
here's my.
We're talking about
The show,
the show, The View on
with
ABC
with
or
Whoopi
whatever.
and
Yeah.
you know the
I'm
other
sorry, I
people.
blocked that.
But
yeah.
you get what I'm
But
saying.
no, I agree with
like,
you. Yes,
if
yes, yes.
you create an entertainment medium, you have a target audience, and you shape your stories or whatever towards your target audience.
Exactly.
Comics are read by teenage males.
Okay, so here's
majority.
Here's a question for you.
That's not to say there aren't female comic readers, but the vast majority is male.
You can't deny statistics.
Yeah.
Numbers don't lie.
So, Stuart, here's a question. What you just said could, out of context, be taken as very disrespectful and rude
I've just thrown out facts.
and
but all right.
demeaning to women. But
I don't think he was saying you're rude. I'm just
no,
saying
I'm saying that it could be taken out of context.
Sure.
So my question to you would be, are you opposed to the idea of more women in comics?
Absolutely
Hold on.
not. That's ridiculous.
Hold on here.
I mean, and that's the problem, is that that's like the rhetoric, like counter argument is like,
Correct.
oh, well, if you think that it's wrong, then you're against like equal. It's like, no, that's not what I'm saying.
It goes back to
Right.
what we said just like 2 episodes ago. It's a fictional character.
Yeah, it's
I understand that.
You can't get mad over fictional works. You
My
can't.
point, not to get mad, my point was to try to lead him into he's not against female characters.
No, that's why I'm saying it's fictional.
He's
You should be able
against
to do whatever.
He's against forced characters.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, definitely.
There's a
Regardless
difference,
of
because
race, gender, anything, he's against forced characters.
in
Is where I was
the past
trying to
in the
go.
past 2 years, Marvel launched their new diversity line of comic books, and it was met with, at first, you had all of the social justice people saying like, "Yay, diversity in comics! That's what we wanted." But none of those people read comics, so nobody bought them, because the people who actually buy comics didn't want to see this forced political narrative, because that's not what. If you take a character like Captain America and you make him into a Nazi in order to push your like,
I don't think that that's an
political
alternative universe. That's catering to an
no,
audience.
that was
That's-
the new
that's-
Marvel
Hail Hydra.
universe.
No, I know.
Was
That's pandering to an audience.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
how is Captain America being a Nazi like? And people and like the people who don't read comic books but they write blogs about social justice and blah 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 blah. Yeah, it's absolutely.
you just Hail Hydra me?
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
If making Captain America a Hydra agent made sense in the narrative,
It'd be
He
okay. It'd be
wouldn't
okay.
have
then
punched
I
Hitler in
would
the
not.
face.
Then I would not have been mad about it. But the fact that they just like shoehorned it in there is ridiculous. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Like, for instance, when the Marvel VP, announced that, we're gonna release all these new diverse comics for a wider audience. Like, okay, cool.
Lady
I'm
Thor.
I'm all about
And I'm
comics.
cool with that.
I'm all
I'm
about
down with
comics
Jane
reaching
Foster
a
just
wider
whooping
audience.
on some people.
Yeah, me too.
I love the fact that more people are reading comics than ever before, because I want, what was originally like a very close-knit and inclusive group to be more widely reachable.
I agree. Yeah.
But the fact is that none of these diversity comics are any good. They're terrible.
It's because
They're
of
poorly written and poorly conceived.
Specifically because of the message that they're sending.
Yes, because okay,
It's not saying like
It's forced.
It's not saying like, oh, well, we got Batgirl because blah blah blah. It's always for an agenda.
Yeah.
It always seems like it's
I
a
have to
personal.
say,
it's an
for
agenda.
using Batgirl, she's probably one of the better ones that I can throw out because
she was written as a natural progression of the narrative.
yes, she's in the story. She's there whooping on, everybody,
She's
having
Jim
a good
Gordon's
time.
daughter.
But then on top of that, she ends up getting captured and then crippled, and then still is finding a way to
Yeah,
be
if
useful.
to be useful. Yeah.
she
She's not-
overcomes her physical
She's
disability
not
to still be a
pandering
crime
to
fighter.
an audience. She's
No,
not a sex
Oracle.
symbol. She's not any of that. She is an integral part of the story.
Do you feel that there's any female characters that are actual sex symbols in the superhero?
Oh yeah,
like,
tons.
Oh yeah.
Is there like that are very forefront though, like Batgirl or like Supergirl or whoever, Hawk, hot girl
Like now
Yeah.
or the original conception?
No.
Now, I can't really.
Because I know that there was what's her name? Miss Marvel.
Yeah, Poison
Is it-
Ivy.
Is
could
it Miss
be
Marvel?
A lot of the Batman
or Captain
female-
Marvel? What's her name?
It's two different people.
Ms. Marvel's who you're
Ms.
thinking
Marvel.
of. The long blonde hair?
Yeah.
That's Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, I feel like she could be close, but
Yeah,
but she was.
Carol Danvers though was all about. I mean, if you read the Captain Marvel comics, like Carol Danvers is like one of the most powerful DC superheroes.
Yeah, that's why
like
I
she
mentioned
can.
her. She can whoop on some fools.
She can beat Superman.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. She can.
she probably could.
Well, yeah, she probably could, but she can fight. Some of the most powerful Marvel characters, and just whoop on them. Like she fought Thanos.
Yeah, she's
Like,
a beast.
so it's not about.
I think if you
Infinity
find a
Gauntlet,
happy
what?
balance, I think if you
think-
find a happy balance between like the symbolism of a woman and power,
yeah, okay.
and it's not forced,
So
then
yeah,
then
because you mentioned
okay.
Thor
Completely okay.
being changed to female.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
The
down
first-
with that.
My
dude.
first,
Dude,
well, okay,
so
and
down
I
with
was
that.
too, and
I'd
I
watch
was like,
the movie, too.
I was excited.
Natalie Portman just whooping on a bunch of dudes.
Yeah,
Oh,
I would-
yeah, dude.
I would have
I'd be
loved
so
that.
down with that.
But the problem is that the execution of female Thor was
Severely
awful.
lacking.
Like, let me just read an actual like excerpt from the comic.
Okay.
So, female Thor is fighting Absorbing Man, one of Thor's like antagonists.
Okay.
And this is literally verbatim what he says to her. Thor, are you kidding me? I'm supposed to call you Thor? Damn feminists are ruining everything. You want to be a chick superhero? Fine. Who the hell cares? But get your own identity. Thor's a dude. One of the last manly dudes still left. What'd you do? Send him to sensitivity training so he'd stop calling Earth's girls wenches?
Wow.
Like,
When was this written?
When was this written?
It's
Yeah.
2 years ago.
2.
2 years ago.
Who wrote this?
This is from the Thor writers.
2
The
years
female
ago.
Thor comic.
Really?
This is the second issue.
Oh my gosh.
Like, there's a very obvious social
Agenda
and political
being
agenda
forced?
that you're
Yeah.
trying to force on people. It's no
It's
longer
starting to
about
sound
making a
like-
good story.
It's starting to sound like the checklist thing again.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the checklist thing.
It's
Do we
so
got our
ridiculous.
gay character? Do we got our colored,
Do we have our
whatever
trans
person?
character?
Yeah.
Do we have our trans character?
Yeah.
Do we have our whatever? Like,
Do we have
yep,
our woman?
We're good to
Okay.
go.
Do we
But
got
is
our
that woman
POC?
strong and
Like-
independent and not a sex object? Oh, no, she's a sex object. Nope, check. Nope,
yeah.
scratch that out.
It's just so ridiculous to me. And so like after the new like diversity line of Marvel Comics like just
Bombed.
tanked because no one would buy them because people who read comics don't want to be politicized at.
No, because it's like it's an escape.
Yeah, comic books. I mean,
Comic books should
the
always
whole
be
nerddom,
fun
it's
and
an
free
all
and like
forms of entertainment are an escape from reality. We don't want you to
Should be
push your like
heroes.
social justice
Yeah.
like stuff onto us while we're trying to be entertained.
yeah. They're meant to be heroes. When you were a kid, who would you look up to? You looked up to your heroes, which were a lot of them were superheroes.
Yeah.
It's
I don't read
keep
Superman
the
to hear a
political
political
agendas
agenda.
and all that crap
Exactly.
I
out of
read
it.
Superman to watch him punch someone in the face so hard they fly off the earth through the atmosphere and into the sun.
Exactly. And if they had kept
I played Injustice.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so terrible that they and the Marvel VP actually came out and said diversity in comics is what killed comic sales.
Yeah. And it is. I think it is.
And
If it wasn't, we wouldn't be talking about it on the
he
show.
He said diversity in comics. What I think he meant was forced diversity.
Yes.
Forced diversity.
I agree.
Yes. Because
has
there's
to
a
make
difference
sense in the
between
narrative.
writing a show that has a female protagonist or a black guy or
Buffy the
whoever.
Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I mean, like,
I feel like that's completely fine because in the universe there is diversity.
Here's the
but
thing.
forcing a
The-
universe that's already been established to have diversity, I think, is a problem.
And you guys will probably not believe me, but the Supergirl TV show on the CW is better than the last like 3 Superman movies.
Agreed.
It's actually really good.
Really?
It's fantastic. You know why? Because they got the actual Supergirl comic writers and Kevin Smith to direct and write the episodes. So it's good because they don't Kevin Smith doesn't try and force like political views. He just writes Supergirl being Supergirl.
Yeah.
And that's what people want. We want to see superheroes. We don't want to see them like trying to like.
The real world is already full of this crap.
Yeah, we don't.
Let us
we
have
don't
our
need that- we
escapes
don't
and
need
let
that in
it
comics.
just be. You know, like
So instead of forced anything, what I'm hearing is that comic books should be similar to yesterday, free.
exactly.
Yeah.
Good tie up, Matt.
Thank you.
And with that, we're gonna wrap up. So thank you guys for listening to us talk about comic books, and in honor of International Comic Book Day. You guys should definitely read more comic books. Read more books in general, of course, but definitely
On Audible.
on Audible.
Audible.com/RLG.
Yeah. Well, it's audibletrial.
Oh, sorry, Audible Trial.
/ RLG. But you can find us on iTunes and Google Play. Just search Really Likable Geeks and we will show up. You can also find us on YouTube by doing the same thing, by searching us. We don't have a vanity URL yet, but we will hopefully very soon here. You can also listen to the episodes on our websites, reallylikablegeeks.com, where we release episodes weekly, of course. You can watch these shows on Twitch on Mondays before they're released to the public, because you're probably watching it right now. And then the audio goes up on Tuesdays, and you can see that on our website and on iTunes and Google Play. And the
What
whole
time Monday?
shebang.
2 p.m.?
2 p.m.
2 p.m.
Twitch, which
I realized how like ridiculous it is to advertise what time we're gonna be on the
while
episode.
on the episode we're doing.
Yeah. You can watch this.
You can
at
watch
this
us
time.
add up now.
How are you watching this?
Yeah,
You can watch next week at next week Monday at 2 p.m.
At 2 p.m. And which it goes up online next. So you can watch it before it goes live on the internet. So if you miss it, the live show, you can watch us on YouTube.
All the
Or you
social
can
medias.
watch us on all the social medias.
Yes.
You can find the podcast on Twitter and Facebook. It's twitter.com/likablegeeks and facebook.com/likablegeeks. And we're on Instagram as well. You can see some photos of behind the scenes work at instagram.com/reallylikablegeeks.
Our producer's sleeping on the job.
Yeah, multiple times. Yeah. So
No.
you can find me
The
on
pictures are
Twitter
there.
at that Stephen Brown.
You can find me, usually not on Twitter, at Believe the Weave.
And you can find me at Stu_no last name.
Whoa, you got it through.
So
So thank you guys for listening to us talk about comic books and other books and superheroes and movies and other fun things.
All sorts of comics.
So thank you guys, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye guys.